How's it going, everyone? Yes, it is that time again. Release 191 is on the testing servers, which means 192 is just around the corner, bar any kind of, I guess, major issues. And I'm going to try to break this down kind of by category of like, okay, gather, social, crafting, things like that. But no, this doesn't have like the new forge or anything like that. However, it does add a whole host of just awesome both quality of life improvements as well as a lot of balancing and just all around cool stuff. Possibly one of the first things that you'll notice is that there is a lot of new sound effects. Oh, that's just awesome. Yeah, there's a sound effect for charging now. Sling bows practically, I mean, that sounds like a sling bow that means business. And so yeah, but healing bombs and both cleansing bombs, they both have new sound effects. I think beneficial bombs all sound like that, and the knockbacks have been removed. If you notice, those weren't knocking me around, so that is amazing. I know there was a couple of times that I was trying to heal somebody and ended up knocking them into the lava or myself into the lava. So yeah, but oh, that is just so awesome. I don't know, I'm a big fan of the charge shot. I mean, you can regenerate energy while you're charging, and yeah, but they've also made an improvement. Yeah. So as soon as I threw that bomb, I started trying to charge my sling bow and it just went straight into charging. So they've also made it much easier to start charging your sling bow immediately following an action. So that's another nice little improvement there. They have also improved how you can load sling bow augments. So now I can just take and drop, where to go? Here, you can just drop it directly onto the sling bow. And then also you can equip the augments in your other hand. So come over here and use up a bunch of shots, and oh, I want to reload, and you just flop it over there. If you notice, it says 20 right here, and then over here is the 16. So this is the one I was just using, and you can just kind of flop them back and forth. So you don't have to worry about, oh, like reloading too early and wasting. They'll still be there, but yeah. So that is pretty awesome, and this should work with basically all augments, so including like the revive augments. I believe they've also fixed the issue of your grapple breaking whenever you get revived, so now that shouldn't be an issue as well. But a few things that really don't fall into categories. There are a lot of new sounds, like I was saying, one of which is a quieter grapple. So no longer are grapples quite so loud and annoying, especially if you're like trying to build and that sort of thing. So that's pretty nice right there. There's also been a whole heap of performance improvements, particularly for like really built up areas like cities, as well as situations where there's a lot of characters in the same area. And they've also kind of optimized how the data is sent back and forth. Basically, they did some tweaks to where it only sends you the data that you actually need instead of just, I guess, everything going on around you. I'm not really sure, but theoretically, network stability should be a little bit better just because it's sending less data back and forth, so that should be pretty awesome. They also tweaked some things in the world builder, one of which I know was really annoying. There was some kind of bug that if you're manipulating like a prefab, that placing a block would sometimes like lock your character in place and teleport you to the center of the prefab, and so yeah, it kind of made it not the most user-friendly experience. So it's pretty awesome right there. Another awesome thing that wasn't really mentioned in the patch notes is the animation for picking items up has been changed. You now kind of feel like a vacuum cleaner. It kind of looks like you have a vacuum cleaner effect. But break some stuff here. And so yeah, I get close to this and it just kind of starts to get sucked up, which is pretty awesome. York. I don't know why I find that so amusing. So that's pretty awesome. And another thing as far as combat, I think we pretty much already covered all of the combat changes just because, I don't know, it tied in with the new sound effects. But now whenever you loot a creature while you're grappled to it, that shouldn't like leave you grappled to just kind of off in the middle of nowhere. So yeah, there we go. So now it automatically breaks the grapple. Previously, it's like you would loot it and the grapple would stay grappled on, but it would be kind of just grappled to nothing. It was really weird. Another thing is all plants now kind of have Boundless-fied names or Boundless-inspired names. So this used to be called Aloe. It's now Twisted Aloba. And this is now Rosetta Nox. So that's pretty awesome. And if you notice, as I'm switching my items down here, it's now brightly colored and it highlights the slot that's being selected. And so yeah, that should be a lot nicer now. Another amazing thing that I didn't see anywhere in the patch notes is now you can see the missing durability. So normally this would have 2000 durability, and you can see it's kind of torn up and so only has 1207 durability left. So amazing. Okay, so moving on to social aspects, footfall has been reworked. So it's more or less the same, like the settlement still determines how much you get per footfall. However, there's a few extra conditions to kind of help prevent abuse. So now there's basically a prestige minimum requirement to getting the full footfall. So if you have under 5,000 prestige in a beacon, you won't get the full footfall, and it'll be kind of scaled back depending on how much prestige you do have. This basically prevents players from just flopping down an empty beacon, like not building anything inside of it, just so they generate some footfall and kind of leech off the settlement. Another thing is that there's kind of like an activity window. So if you haven't visited your beacon, or at least the settlement that the beacon is inside of, within a week, you'll start to get reduced rewards linearly per day. So I don't know what that number is. It might be something like 10% per day or something to that effect. But basically, if you want to get the maximum footfall from your beacons, you'll need to visit them at least once a week. So another awesome social aspect that's been improved is now the friends list is properly alphabetized. So all the uppercase and lowercases are all mixed together, just the way they should be. Previously, like, it would list all the names that started with capital letters first in alphabetical order, and then list all the names in lowercase letters in alphabetical order. So it was really confused because you might be looking for Blackstone and he would be up at the top with the B's, or you might be looking for this other guy, Bullymong, but he would be like way down the list with all the other lowercase names. So kind of crazy. So now it's all properly done just the way you expect, which is awesome. Another awesome addition is now there is parental control. So if you want your child or somebody like that to play, you can now set things like a profanity filter, or you could even make it to where they really can't see or chat to anybody. So right here you have like player can see everything as far as player chat, and there's an option for basically making it to where they can only see friend chat and then can't see anything at all. It does say player sees encoded text for non-friends. I'm not really sure what that means. Player sees encoded text for everybody. So I don't know if it's supposed to look like that, because I really don't know what it means by encoded text. But according to the patch notes, you can set this to where you can only see text from friends. Okay, so by encoded text, they mean basically blotted out. So yeah, encoded text for non-friends, that means anybody that's not the player's friend, you won't be able to read what they have to say. So for signs, names, and chat, basically. You can also do the same thing for generated names and text. So like signs you could hide in case you're worried about signs. And then you can also set whether or not the player can make friends with people. So it'd be kind of pointless to hide text from non-friends if they could just go ahead and friend them and then be able to talk to them. You can also limit trading in much the same way, so you can trade only with friends or with nobody or no restrictions at all. So pretty awesome. Let's see here. Yeah, looks like... There we go. Yeah, get everything back to normal. So that is pretty awesome, especially if you have a child that you would like to let play the game, but you can't exactly sit there and supervise the entire time. There is also, on kind of the same note, there is a brand new reporting feature, so you can report like a location if somebody wanted to build private parts and greater than life size out of a building, or report a beacon, same sort of thing, I guess. Like a beacon name that breaks the rules or it's inappropriate, as well as player and just kind of general issues, like maybe somebody's harassing you. So yeah. And you can also report signs by interacting with them directly. So I can't really report my own sign, but I could jump over to somebody else's sign, and if I found it to be in some way offensive, I could report it and the matter would be looked into. So pretty awesome. So moving on to building, they didn't do a whole lot for builders necessarily, but one of the best things that was done was they fixed the double place bug. So if you're unfamiliar, if you have max dexterity, you would click once and it would place 2 blocks, kind of like that. But now I can just do single clicks and it always places 1 block. So pretty awesome there. Another thing that's been tweaked is now small signs kind of act like torches. So there we go, it falls off. Whereas the modular signs can be still placed on thin air. And jumping over to the beacon control, it now gives you a proper reason for why you can't access your settlement details or kind of like rename your settlement. And so the reason it's giving me right here is that this beacon has formed a bridge between 2 or more independent clusters of plots that formed into separate settlements. So yeah, even though I have over 200,000 prestige, it won't let me be my own settlement because it doesn't quite, it sees weird things going on. So kind of what's happening is I've built way too close to not only 30 and Still Gaming over there, but also the Steampunk City and this guy over here. So it doesn't quite know what to do. I think all I really need to do is pull back from the Steampunk City just a little bit, and then I would be able to kind of be like a valid settlement. But yeah. So some amazing quality of life additions for gatherers is that now the drop rate for seeds has been increased, and luck will then further increase the chances of a seed dropping. So as long as I hit this long grass and with max luck, it's pretty much guaranteed it's going to drop a seed. And even the smaller tufts of grass are a near guarantee. So that is pretty awesome. Another thing is that orbs have had their drop rates increased, so now they should be a little bit easier to gather, as well as the drops from the rarer surface resources have been increased. So things like the little rock rings, dripping fungus probably, as well as some of the rarer flowers, they should drop more stuff now, making them much more valuable. Last but certainly not least is the crafting improvements. This is probably the biggest category of changes. There's a whole slew of quality of life and balancing going on here. Many things are now cheaper or easier, but one of the really cool things, kind of quality of life, is now stack sizes go all the way up to 100. So now you have some nice even round numbers to work with. So pretty awesome. And yeah, many of the power and spark requirements have been balanced, as well as spark values being rounded for easier calculations. So now you should have some nicer numbers to work with when calculating prices, as well as power coils. As you see right here, you can now see the durability on power coils just by looking at them. So this one's kind of damaged and somewhere, yeah, there we go. So this power coil kind of in the middle here is almost half dead. One of the amazing things is now you can use any spanner in order to repair power coils, so no longer do you have to use the special gem ones, and yeah, that's pretty amazing. And the other awesome thing is that now spanners do not take damage unless you actually repair something. So this has, let's see here, 858 durability. Try to repair that. I don't actually repair anything, and it still has 858 durability. So I could just beat on this thing all day long and nothing would actually happen. That is pretty awesome. Likewise with gathering tools, if you don't actually hit anything, it won't take any durability loss. So now your tool will only wear out if you're actually hitting stuff. If you felt that the advanced power coils were a bit too expensive, you probably should get busy crafting them, because in 191 they're actually more expensive to craft. This was changed to kind of balance it out. It turned out that you could craft advanced power coils to generate the same amount of power cheaper than using the basic coils. So that really wasn't the intention of advanced power coils simply being the most economical way to generate power. They're supposed to gate the most advanced tiers of crafting. So you might not agree with that, but it makes sense from that standpoint of this is the pinnacle of crafting, and it should take some time in order to get there. So one of the things I'm most excited about is that fuel values have been rebalanced to make higher level and compacted fuels more worthwhile. Also, the furnaces have been completely reworked, so basically now compacting coals is much more attractive. And so if we come over here, we have our 3 furnaces, so we have stone, iron, and titanium. So if we put a piece of soft coal in all 3 of these, it is always worth 100 heat. However, if you now look down here, if you're crafting, say, a copper bar, that takes 100 heat. And if we plop it over into an iron furnace, we see that it only takes 50 heat. So now we're using 1 piece of coal to make 2 copper bars. And come over here to the titanium, and now we can get 4 copper bars out of 1 piece of soft coal, since it only takes 25 heat. So put another way, iron furnaces are twice as fuel efficient as stone furnaces, and titanium furnaces are then 2 times more fuel efficient than iron and 4 times more efficient than stone. So basically, you're going to want to get a titanium furnace as fast as possible if you don't already have some, because that is pretty amazing. Also, cooking or smelting goes faster in the higher level furnaces. Right now, titanium and iron kind of seem to be on the same page, but both seem to be consistently twice as fast as the stone furnace. Personally, I don't care about crafting times, but that bonus to fuel efficient is just golden. I can't wait to get my hands on that. The flip side to this is that if you're smelting something more advanced like titanium, see, titanium takes 6 times as much heat. So you'd either take 6 pieces of soft coal, or if you have a titanium furnace, you can put it in the titanium furnace, and now it only takes 150 heat in order to smelt it. So pretty awesome. Speaking of efficiency, if we come over here to the mixer, brews are now a lot cheaper to craft because they've had their outputs doubled. So according to the patch notes, they said the outputs were doubled, so I guess before you only got 2 potions per craft, now it's up to 4 potions per craft. So that should make making potions much more economical and cheaper to make and buy. So that is pretty awesome. And they also mentioned something about making the higher quality foods more worthwhile in some way. I'm not overly familiar with these recipes, but they don't seem to have changed, so I'm wondering if their effects have been boosted in some way to make them more attractive. So pretty excited to see that. Another amazing quality of life change for crafters is that buckets now have a durability bar. So in other words, they're multi-use. Whenever you use them in crafting, get the buckets back. And yeah, so I mean, it's always kind of one of my pet peeves is when you're crafting something and it consumes the container that the liquid was stored in. So it's like, oh, wait a second, I'm crafting with milk, not, you know, buckets. It's like, since when is a bucket an essential ingredient in making fortified milk or butter or, you know, things like that? So now you get the buckets back. They of course will still eventually wear out, but yeah, that's pretty awesome. Anyway, this was Javita. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, be sure to hit that like button. Subscribe if you want to see more like this. If there's anything you didn't like, please let me know down below. And if you like my channel and you want to get cool perks, check out my Patreon page. Until next time, peace.